So this person is committed to comfort. He's cramped in considerations. He's consumed with commerce. Are those the things that are keeping you from Christ? Make salvation in Christ your top priority. So not only is he doing these things, but fourthly, this morning, he's convinced of a concept. Verse 19. And I like this. I will say to my soul. He's got to preach this message to himself. I will, in the future, sometimes say to my soul. This is the lie that you got to believe. Soul, you have many goods laid up for many years. Take your ease, eat, drink, and be merry. In other words, you're going to be satisfied with that. That's the implication there. And this is nothing but a lie. Verse 15 tells us the truth. And he said to them, take heed, beware of covetousness. For one's life does not consist in the abundance of things he possesses. So the lie he's got to preach to himself is that one's life consists of the abundance of things that he possesses. If you're here today and you are without Jesus Christ, one of the many reasons that you may be sitting on the fence is because you've embraced this lie that life is all about the things that you possess. And you don't want to give that up. But the reality is, the reality of this, that hypothesis that life is all about the things that we possess, has been tested. Do you know where? Do you remember Solomon? Solomon was a test case for seeing whether everything the world had to offer would actually make a difference, would be satisfying, even in this life. It's empty. If you read the book of Ecclesiastes, the conclusion of the book of Ecclesiastes is everything is empty. Everything is vexation of spirit. It's all empty. And Solomon had everything you could have wanted. The Queen of Sheba came and said, the half was not told to me of all the gold and all the riches that you have. He had 1,000 wives. He had everything this world had to offer. And at the end of his life, he says it was all empty. It was all vanity and vexation of spirit. And of course, if life is all about the things that we possess, the natural conclusion is that all we can do is eat, drink, and be merry. That's it. But this is foolishness. Let me read you something. I don't even remember. I just found it in my old sermon notes, and it was a quote from somebody. I got quotation marks around it, but I don't know who this is from, actually. The natural man who has never taken God seriously falls into the delusion that this world is all there is. Well then, replies the preacher, if the world is all, and it's talking about the book of Ecclesiastes, if the world is all there is, let us find out by experience whether there is anything ultimately worthwhile in the world, anything that yields real satisfaction. The result of his extensive experiment, result of Solomon and all his wives and all his riches, carried on under the most favorable conditions possible, was that nothing but meaninglessness and profound disappointment await the secularistic materialist. That's a fancy word for what you are. If you're here and you're standing on the fence and you don't want to humble yourself and you don't want to turn from your sin and you don't want to trust Jesus Christ and embrace Him and follow Him, you're just embracing what the world has to offer. You're a secular materialist. That's what you are. All his ambitions, though fully achieved, all his lusts, though fully indulged, lead only to delusion and nausea. For him, life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. It's empty. It's empty. So he's convinced of a concept. Are you convinced that possessions, passions, and the prestige of life is what life is all about? How long are you going to think like an animal? It's what it is. It's thinking like an animal. But what's the corrective? What must we do? Look at verse 15, the second part. Let's start with the word one's. One's life does not consist in the abundance of things he possesses. Now, why is it stated in the negative? One's life does not consist in the abundance of things he possesses. It's stated in the negative because naturally, when we're born and when we come into the world, we naturally believe that that's true. Life's all about the stuff we have and the experiences we have and the prestige we receive where we are. That's what we naturally think. We have to combat that thought in our mind. That is a thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. One's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses.